What if this was your country? The war in Ukraine isn't just a headline, it's a harsh reality for millions. You wake up to sirens, the ground shakes beneath your feet, and normality vanishes. You look out your window and see chaos, families fleeing, lives shattered. You think about your home, your loved ones, and the struggle ahead. To truly understand the war in Ukraine, we need to step back and see the bigger picture. Wars don't erupt out of nowhere. They are the result of history, politics, ambition, fear, and sometimes centuries of unresolved tension. Ukraine's war is no exception. Ukraine sits at the heart of Eastern Europe, geographically and culturally positioned between Russia and the West. For centuries, its land has been fought over, divided, and claimed by larger powers. Empires rose and fell across its plains, from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth to the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and most significantly, the Russian Empire and later the Soviet Union. During the 20th century, Ukraine endured some of the darkest chapters in human history. Under Soviet rule, millions of Ukrainians died in the Holodomor famine of the 1930s, a man-made famine caused by Stalin's policies. Later, Ukraine became one of the bloodiest battlegrounds of World War II, caught between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. These events left scars that run deep in the nation's collective memory. Fast-forward to 2014. Ukrainians took to the streets in massive protests known as the Euromaidan movement. Why? Because then-President Viktor Yanukovych backed out of an agreement with the European Union under pressure from Russia. Protesters demanded a future with closer ties to Europe, not Moscow. The demonstrations escalated, and after months of unrest, Yanukovych fled the country. On February 24, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion. It was one of the largest military offensives in Europe since World War II. Tanks rolled across the borders from the north, east, and south. Missiles struck cities across the country, including Kiev, the capital. Every decision counts. You gather essentials, food, water, documents, and a few belongings. You plan your next steps carefully. Panic isn't an option. Clarity is. Communication becomes your ally. You connect with others, share information, and find safety in numbers. You prioritize your loved ones. You don't leave anyone behind. You consider shelters, safe zones, and routes to escape. Professional help is a lifeline. Humanitarian organizations and volunteers are out there, working tirelessly despite the chaos. In the midst of fear, you find courage. You rely on your instincts and the support of those around you. Adversity brings out resilience you didn't know you had. The bonds you forge with fellow survivors are powerful. Shared experiences unite you in a way that nothing else can. You adapt to the new normal. Life as you knew it has changed, but you fight for a semblance of normalcy. The strength to rebuild may come from understanding what matters most. Hope becomes your anchor. Even in the darkest moments, you cling to the belief that peace will return, that the fight for a better future is worth it. What you do now defines not just your survival, but your spirit. Stay connected, support one another, and keep pushing forward. You can withstand this. The invasion shocked the world. Countries across Europe, North America, and beyond imposed sweeping sanctions on Russia. Billions of dollars in military aid flowed into Ukraine. NATO, once described as brain-dead by some leaders, found renewed purpose. At the same time, the war exposed divisions. Countries like China, India, and others took more cautious or neutral positions, reflecting a world not united but fractured. As of now, the war continues. Ukraine has reclaimed some territory, but the front lines remain brutal. The conflict has become a test of endurance, for both Ukraine and Russia, but also for the world. And while Ukraine's story is unique, it forces us to ask the question again. If this happened in your country, what would you do? Would you fight? Would you flee? Would you resist? Would you survive?